from Richmond, right in his General Assembly office, man of the people, Delegate David Ramadan. Great to have you with us, Delegate.
Good morning, John, and regards from Mr. Jefferson's capital.
Now, you guys have had a very busy 2 weeks up there. One thing I've learned about the short session is it might be short, but it's breathless. You guys have done a lot. What are some of David Ramadan's top priorities right now?
I'll tell you, my top priority for the entire session remains to be the Dulles Greenway for my district. Although I work on issues ranging from business issues to hunting issues that will affect the entire state, my focus remains on the issues that will affect my district. And there's no more of a priority for my constituents than reducing the tolls, these high, outrageous tolls on the Dulles Greenway, where they pay $5.25 every time they get on it, whether they use it for 1 mile or all 14 miles. That's still a very, very high price. Our former congressman from Northern Virginia, Congressman Wolf, named it a few years ago highway robbery, and it literally is.
The thing is, this has been going on. I know you've been doing battle on this for some time. How do you change it?
Well, we've been battling it with the State Corporation Commission within the restraints of the current code. And what we learned is that the current code had the State Corporation Commission's hands tied because there weren't the parameters were set but were not defined. So my colleagues, Delegate Greason, Delegate LaRocque, Senator Black, and myself, they joined me on Friday. We've been working very hard last week on drafting a bill that holds our belief in a free market system, but certainly would not allow this monopoly as it is today to continue. And we put in a bill that was filed on Friday. All three colleagues joined me on it. Congresswoman Barbara Comstock came out in support of the bill. I'm anticipating several support from chambers of commerce today, and we'll work through the process to make it a fair process for all. Look, we want private businesses. A deal was done several years ago. The road is there to exist. We're not trying to take it away. However, we cannot allow absolute monopoly and gouging of our constituents at $5.25, even when they hop on it for 1 mile.
Oh, they've been gouged for some time. You got to keep fighting that because it's just ridiculous. And the thing is, people feel powerless. That's why they send you guys up there, and they want somebody fighting for them. And you need to continue to do that because whenever I've been on it, I mean, $5 is just a lot of money to go on the darn thing. And so I, try to seek an alternative.
Yeah, a family of two, John, that drive it every day are spending $5,000 a year on tolls just to get on that. I mean,
it's just cash money, bang, right out of their pocket.
Yep.
I mean, if they're just going to work, you can't charge it off. It just comes out of your basically mail ticket now.
And the money's going to an Australian hedge fund that had taken a $270 million road and leveraged it for $1.2 billion on the stock market. So they over-leveraged the road 4 times. They issued bonds 4 times. In some cases, the bonds were up to 30% return on the stock market. I mean, it's just a bad deal all around, and it's a monopoly by an international firm that is ripping us off. Highway robbery, as Frank Wolf called it.
Was Sean Connaughton involved in that?
No, I do not believe so. That predated Sean.
Oh, that would have been he would have been right at home with that.
Yeah.
All right,
Sean is a good friend, and I know there are issues and problems, and he did his job as a Secretary of Transportation of the time, but times have changed
a little bit. All right, David Ramadan. Last you've been in there 2 weeks. You filed 13 bills, I believe, right? That's a lot. That's a lot of legislation.
A lot of legislation, but all in good cause and in constraints of fiscal government, conservative fiscal government, and making our system better for our constituents. Whether I'm fighting for 75% enrollment in our schools for Virginians, or whether a bill on freedom of information, opening the presidents of the universities for freedom of information by the citizens, or whether to extend tax exemptions and services to our members of to veterans and members of our armed services, or a couple of bills, one that would create animal cruelty conviction list, and an additional list for prior to 1994 on sex offenders against minors. All of these are in good cause. All of these are priorities of my constituents. All of these, among others, are to keep Virginia a great place to live and raise a family.
Delegate, let's get to, there was a couple of proposals last week floating about, and I just give me the top line on it because I don't expect you to read things that haven't gotten out of committee. You don't have time for that, Joe. Just give me the kind of top line philosophy. Two bills led by Majority Leader Kirk Cox earlier in the week, both having to do with paying for college. One of them, which I thought was very interesting, limiting the fees that colleges can charge on top of tuition for backing the athletics. And basically what it's saying is, college costs in Virginia have just gotten wildly out of control. You end up, you graduate, you got a $100,000 or $90,000 undergraduate fee to pay back, student loan fee. 1/3 of it was basically to support the football team. And he says this is just wrong. What say you?
I fully agree with Leader Cox. He's done a great job leading on several issues, but his top two priorities, as you know, he has been a teacher all his life,
right?
And he knows the system well. Gouging, again, we're back to gouging. We're gouging our constituents if they want to play soccer. We're gouging if they want to play football. We're gouging them if they want to play basketball. I mean, there's got to be a limit to how much we can go after every dollar the citizens have. And that's what Leader Cox has done. He's also pushed through, and I'm honored to be a chief co-patron on one of his bills, which we will be talking about in a conference call in an hour from now. In a press conference an hour from now. We are creating 2 Veterans Care Centers in Virginia. We only had 2. Our veterans are underserved, and 2 new centers are coming that will be funded partly by Virginia and partly by the feds. One would be in your neck of the woods in the Hampton Roads area, and one in my neck of the woods up in Northern Virginia, and we're very excited about that. And Leader Cox is also leading on those issues.
What about this idea of having a $16,000 college tuition opportunity? Like if there's certain colleges and certain degrees where jobs are in need, that you could be guaranteed that your entire tuition would be $16,000. Is that something that we could ever make a reality? Because it seems like it's got some legs.
Yes, absolutely we can. Look, if private colleges can compete with the public colleges at approximately the same price or so, or close, then that means we are wasting too much money in our public colleges. Let's face it, there is a big elephant in the room that nobody ever talks about, and it's called tenure in colleges. Okay, we want the best of the professors, but where in the world would people have a job for life, teaching 6 hours a week and getting paid for it a decent amount of money? They're not getting rich, I can tell you that, but they got a job for life and they teach 6 hours a week. And if we get away from this tenure system, there is not, unfortunately, a bill that does that. I'll vote for it in a heartbeat. I think we can even educate for less than $16,000, because that is still a lot of money for every Virginian, including those in Northern Virginia in my district. $16,000 a year is not easy to fork out today.
But it certainly beats $100,000, and that's
of course.
Really what's going on right now is that, people get out of a school, they got these huge student loans to pay back, and it's a real issue. I think the platform for governor is a $16,000 college education and no red light cameras. If I run for governor, that's going to be my platform. Now, red light cameras, I can't stand them. I really can't. I think they're warrantless search. They take money out of your pocket. Former Governor Kilmore, one of my heroes, vetoed it when it first came up. But now, every time there's any legislator that tries to get rid of it, it can't even get out of committee. Ben Klein tried to get out the other day. It got no Republican votes at all.
Yep. Well, there are so many problems with red light cameras, but one basic issue that I'm trying to deal with is if you get a red light camera ticket, you can't appeal it.
Right.
We passed a law last year that went out of the General Assembly, I think, unanimously and almost unanimous out of the Senate, and unfortunately the governor vetoed it. And I'll tell you, he vetoed it for political purposes. Despite the public purpose that was put out there, it was vetoed because it was carried by our friend Johnny Joanno, and it was a message to Johnny, even though Johnny is a Democrat himself. I put in the bill again this year, and I'm confident that it will go out of the House and the Senate, and I hope that the governor would not veto it this year, so that our constituents that get a ticket through these red light traffic signal cameras can at least have the right of appeal in their local jurisdictions.
We're back with David Ramadan. That's our new rejoin with Chap Peterson with his Shaft theme song in there. It's pretty funny. It does make Chap Peterson, also a Northern Virginia Democratic senator and a co-founder of the Liberty Caucus, which is one of my favorite caucuses, the Liberty Caucus. Guys, we're getting back to David Ramadan. And
I'll tell you, Chap is a good friend, and we work together on many things. Not only I joined him and Rich Anderson on the Liberty Caucus, Chap is my co-founder, co-chairman of the Redskins Caucus, and Chap and I had worked on several bills together, one of which we have put in this year, which is to eliminate the exemption on FOIA for presidents of universities in Virginia.
Hey, I'm for that, and I'm excited. I love the Liberty Caucus, and I know you're a keen member of that, and I appreciate that, David, and what you're doing there. And one thing about you and Chap that you both have in common is both of you guys make me laugh. That's
well, let me tell you about one bill that would make you a little laugh today. Okay. In very rare occasions, you would see Ken Cuccinelli and the ACLU together in support of a bill.
Cats and dogs living together. What is it?
I even tweeted the picture for you for proof to see minutes before I got on air. But today, I chair the Constitutional Amendments Subcommittee of P&E, and in this committee this morning, Colonel Rich Anderson introduced a bill that pretty much puts in in our Constitution protection language that is similar to the Fourth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. Which protects the citizens from the power of government. And both former Attorney General Ken Cuccinelli and the ACLU were both working together in support of this bill with a picture to prove it.
Now, is it going to get out of committee? Where is it?
There was a substitute put in. The initial language had some opposition, or quite a bit of opposition, from the Commonwealth attorneys and all the police and sheriff associations. However, a substitute was put in this morning in committee that Delegate Anderson had worked out with both the former Attorney General and other stakeholders that are worried about some of the issues in the initial bill. It's all under review now, and I'm waiting to hear back from them. It'll be voted on next week.
And by the way, both Ken Cuccinelli and Colonel Anderson, delegate from Loudoun County, are going to be on the show together tomorrow. They'll be with me tomorrow at 7:35 a.m. So you want to catch that. I think that's important legislation that they're trying to get through. Your agenda for this week, what do you got going on this week that you're really keeping an eye
on? There are several bills that are going to be, most of my bills are actually going to be in subcommittees this week, so I got a lot of presentations to do, a lot of convincing to do, and a lot of defending to do from those that will be attacking them. And I look forward to fighting for each one of those bills because I believe in each one of those bills.
There you go. You heard it straight from Delegate David Ramadan. People want more information, David, on what you're up to, or they want to sign up for your infamous weekly update. This thing is really a great newsletter. It's a top read, must read if you're following what's going on in the General Assembly. Delegate Ramadan, where do they go?
DavidRamadan.com is my website. They can click in the upper right-hand corner to stay connected, DavidRamadan.com, or on my Twitter, which is constantly updated throughout the day, not just weekly, and that is David I. Ramadan, David I. Ramadan.